it's okay. I'm okay.
You don't look okay.
You look like I feel like
What happened?
I don't know. I just got really hot and I started having trouble breathing.
We should set up some labs just to be safe. Any chance you're pregnant?
Not sure I feel comfortable answering that. No.
She was tacky, but it's resolved now. Have you eaten anything?
Yeah,
You staying hydrated?
100%. I'm doing everything right. It's everything around me that's all up. It's just my mom moving and calling me over and over again, and now me scrambling to find a job next year. I had it all planned out, and now everything's just out the window.
Wait a minute. Is this a panic attack because of your mommy issues?
What? No.
Jesus. Do you need to go home? You should go home.
No, I'm fine.
I don't need the liability. Go home. And the rest of you, the last time I checked, the ED is a show, so let's all get back to work, huh?
One of the early indications that something's going on with Mohan is her being short with a patient, snapping that she's not their doctor. Then she collapses and is worried it's an MI. It's a panic attack, and it's kind of understandable given how Mohan has had her entire plan upended and doesn't have time to actually figure out things like she should. How much did that contribute to all of that just coming up in this episode?
Yeah, you know, it's so interesting. I didn't know the panic attack was happening. I just found out through Noah, actually, because he mentioned to Shabana that in episode 10 I have this big moment, and I was like, whoa, what do you mean? And then so I found out this panic attack was happening, and it definitely was scary because I didn't know it was coming up until episode 10. But then, you know, the more research I did about it, and even like my own experiences with an anxiety disorder, it's like you don't know when you're gonna have a panic attack. It just kind of like comes out of nowhere, and you like the most random thing could trigger you. And so just like drawing from my own experiences, and then even just really researching and even talking to some doctors on set even about how they've had instances like that in the ER. Like I really just kind of leaned into the discomfort and the suddenness of it. And I think there's like things that aren't mentioned in that episode that's like adding to it, you know? Like she's lost a patient, like literally lost a patient. He ran from the hospital after she's tried to, you know, give him medication and help him. And a patient that kind of has this connective tissue to her own past and her own life. And she doesn't really know where her life is going. And she thought she'd have kids by now, or like at least have a partner, or, you know, I think there's a lot of, I think like she's really grappling with like how much of her life she's given to this job, and almost how embarrassing it is that her mom deciding to get a boyfriend and do her own thing has upended her life this much. Like it shouldn't. She's 30 years old. You know what I mean? It's definitely, I think, this moment of just really deep vulnerability for her.
When we'd spoken earlier this season, you'd said of Mohan and Robbie's dynamic, there's a little more mutual respect. Whether that lasts all season, we shall see. And now I see why.
Yeah, I kind of was like, everyone's like, wow, you guys seem so comfortable. And I was like, yeah, like I've shot so much of the season. Let's see how that goes. No, it's like, it's definitely like, I think they've come to this at the beginning of the season, sort of like uncomfortable truths of like mutual respect. But I think that kind of, I mean, I think Robbie's an interesting character because he's so hot and cold with so many people because he's going through his own thing. And I think Samira is definitely one of those people for him. And so I think like it goes away when he sees her mess up. And I mean, listen, like Samira does mess up. There's like things she does that are definitely out of character for her and not to the standard of care that she's used to delivering. And so I think which I think she would really need at that moment is just empathy from Robbie as her mentor. And I think there's moments where he gives that and moments where he doesn't. And I think that's really hard for her to deal with.
Yeah, because like things were tense between them last season, but like the way he talks after the panic attack is not okay and like not what you need to hear. You said what she wanted, but what did she expect from him?
I think when I was playing that scene, when he calls it a panic attack, I think that's the first time she really truly considers that is what happened. Samira's dad passed away from a heart attack from mismanagement of care. And I think a thing that was really coming up for me when I was doing the scene was, you know, is this what my dad felt like before he passed? Is this like the last few things he experienced? And so I think she really does think it's an MI, and she really does think that it's like a heart attack. And I think him saying that in that moment, that this is a panic attack, is the first time she really truly considers it. And I do think it's interesting because like even though Samira can be prickly with her colleagues. Like I do think if they had this like really intense moment for them, she would be there for them, and she would step in and care for them. And I think she really just wanted empathy in that moment from someone like Robbie. But it's just one of those things where I think sometimes, especially when you're in a job that's so high stress, you can't really have empathy for other people, because then that would mean you need to have empathy for yourself and the struggles you're dealing with, which is what Robbie's going through so much this season. So yeah, like I definitely just don't think she gets the empathy that she needs from him in that moment.
Even when they talk near the end of this hour, the apology isn't the best.
No, it's not great.
What does she think of it? Has this changed her view of him?
No, I mean, I think that that's really expected. Like I think she thinks maybe it will, but like I think he starts off saying sorry, and then he just kind of goes like, but get it together. And I mean, there's some truth to that. She does like kind of need to, or she needs to go home. But I think there does need to be an apology on Robbie's end for how he's speaking to someone who's a woman and his who's lower than him in the power scale. And I do think she wished that she would have gotten more of an apology from him in that moment.
Robbie says to Dana that he's not sure Mohan's head is in the game, then tells Mohan he needs her to focus on the patients. But to me, it feels like his head is more so not in the game, and it's just that in that moment, everything overwhelmed Mohan, but didn't affect how she cares for her patients in front of her. Is that something that she is picking up on, but like for herself and from Robbie?
I mean, I think she blames herself a lot. I think she definitely self-flagellates, and so like I would agree. I don't think it like really affects like at the end of the day the care that she's giving, but I think there's little things like the woman who runs away because of ice, who initially is the patient that Dr. Mohan was treating before she gets her panic attack. Like I think she's just kind of like, if I just had it together, I would have been able to see this person before they were intimidated by this presence and like forced to leave the hospital. And so I think there's like things like that really affect her. And so I think sometimes the criticism, like I think she sees it, and I think she's kind of like, I wish I kept my cool. But I don't think she knows how much Robbie is struggling. I think that she's not really aware in that moment that like so much of why he's coming down on her is because there's so much bubbling up inside him because of this day.
Mohan says to tell her mom she's busy when she calls. Also, she calls like the hospital phone.
It was so embarrassing to play that scene. It was so embarrassing. And also like the fact that it was like in front of everyone on the red emergency line when the phones are down. Like we need that line to be open. Yeah, it was really embarrassing. I felt for her in that moment.
How much is it that she's upset with the decisions her mom has made all of a sudden without telling her? How much is it that embarrassment? And how much is it that she's just not ready to talk to her at this point?
I mean, I think it's all three. I mean, I think she's like, I'm at work. I'm literally trying to save lives here. I'm, trying not to be bothered. And I can't think about my mom with like her boyfriend and going on this cruise. Like, it's just weird. Like I think it's like, kind of going like, well, you're selling our house, which is the last place I saw my dad alive. And I don't want to think about that. You're replacing him. I don't want to think about that. I really thought it was just going to be the two of us. I don't want to think about that. I think it's a lot of those things for her that she just doesn't want to deal with right now.
Why did Mohan want Abbott to write her a letter of recommendation? Because that was before the Robbie Mohan stuff in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's more comfortable with him. I don't think she would ever ask Dr. Robbie to write her a letter of recommendation, because I think she would hope that he would offer. I think she'd be worried about what he would say maybe in it, but I think she's way more comfortable with Dr. Abbott, and they've worked together a lot because Samira tends to work doubles. So I think she feels, especially after episode 7, or hour 7 rather, where he offers to pay for this Uber so that she can deliver care in the way that she wants to deliver care. I think she feels more seen by him, and so she's hoping that she can get that recommendation from him and know that the stuff that's in there be good, as opposed to Dr. Robbie. I think she kind of be like, what is in that letter? I don't really know.
You brought up the doubles because I was going to say, is this indicating that she is working night shifts more? And like you said, like, does she take days off? So like, that's what I feel like that's leaning towards too. It's like showing like the full side of her.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's like really in work, and I think she's just taking as many shifts as she can. I just had a question in another interview where they were like, what's her nighttime routine? And I'm like, I don't think she has one. Like, I think she showers, there's like one bottle of Dove body wash in the shower, and I think she, you know, does that, like reads research papers, does MRAP, goes to bed, gets like 5 hours of sleep, goes to work, and that's when she's not working a night shift. Like, I think if she's doing both, like, she's not really getting much sleep. I think, yeah, girls running on fumes. So yeah, I think Abbott's definitely someone that, at least, you know, of the people from the day shift, she's just seen more because she's working nights.
Ogilvie and Robbie have that brief conversation on the roof while waiting for a patient, and like we pretty much get the description of the show that like it's relentless with that line. Has anything about this day been what Ogilvie expected thus far?
No, I mean, not at all. I think he anticipated it being easy, you know, a continuation of the pattern of his life thus far, which is to say that he's always been capable, confident, and cruised through with some degree of ease. And I just think it's so telling of the state of Ogilvie's day that this kiss-ass gunner gets a moment alone on the roof with the attending he idolizes and doesn't kiss ass, doesn't gun, and instead sort of like not knowing how to ask for help, but he's like, I'm struggling, you know, which I think is indicative of where he's at, how close he is to his breaking point.
I was going to ask, is like, did he ever imagine that that's what he would do if he was in a situation like that?
No, I think it was the opposite. I think it would be trying to flex, trying to show off, you know, impress Robbie, connect with Robbie in some degree of medical way. But no, he's sort of like coming to him palms out and being like, I don't know how to ask for the help I need, but this feels not normal, you know?
Robbie says it's not for everyone, and Ogilvie says it's not healthy for anyone. What is he seeing in Robbie and the rest of the staff who've been there for a long time and have been affected by everything?
And this is so juicy. I think what he's seeing is the continuation of wear. You know, there have been points through the day where I think he's seen how vital empathy is to doctoring. I think he's realized that there's some degree that he's missing, and I think he then attempts to have some of that after that conversation with Robbie in his own way. And I think he also is very wary because he sees the cost of caring so much over such a long period of time, is particularly in Robbie, who is, he's had it today, you know?
I was going to bring that up because like we, the audience, know that something's going on with Robbie this shift. Those who know him can kind of tell that something's off. But this is Ogilvie's first day. So like how much is he actually picking up on that with Robbie?
I think it's enough to know that something's happening. But I don't think it's enough to know the degree of like how Dana and Langdon seem to be able to sense it, even Santos to a degree. I think it's very different for Ogilvie, where he's still very much in his own world, and the few times that he's able to sort of peek out, he sees someone who also maybe needs help. And that's not a bridge he feels capable or comfortable touching. You know, it's a very sore subject for him. But it's really interesting for him to see a role model in that position.
Yeah, because also like there have been a couple of moments, like there's the moment in 209 when Robbie tells him to put his hand down, which is kind of comedic also, just the way that it's played in that moment.
Yeah.
But first of all, what was Ogilvie going to say or ask?
You know, that was Noah improvised that line. He made that up on the spot. We were told that everybody needed to have their hands up, and I was like, oh, perfect. I wonder who would have their hand up way high. In my mind, was going to be something about, since he had just made a mistake with the clipboards in Javati, when they were treating the phytophotodermatitis patient, I think he was going to ask a question that sort of shows like I actually did know what was going on. Do you know what I mean? And try and like save face a little bit. And Noah sees me going like, and throws it in there, and the whole room, the first time he did it, went, oh. It was great.
But then also in this episode, Robbie tells him to keep his mouth shut in the trauma room with the amputated leg. So like, how is that affecting Ogilvie for his boss to talk to him like that?
It's a continuation of a pattern as well, right? Ogilvie has been gently reminded by McKay, reprimanded slightly with these little sly comments like Samira's to Mr. Green, okay, back to your pain, you know what I mean? There's just like a slight intolerance of Ogilvie. And I think he's smart enough to pick up on it. And I think he's sort of stuck in a habit that has previously served him in his life. And I think part of the journey of the day, and part of what he learns, is that he needs to let go of that, which I think it takes some chipping away to get to.